Just when you guys were thinking that there could be no more badass cars left out there for under $5,000, well, you're wrong. You know why? I dug them up and I'm presenting them to you guys. This is part 2 of the top 5 beast cars you can get for under $5,000. Let's roll right into it. All right, guys, so number 5 on the list, and if you guys didn't see it coming, man, it's going to be the 1989 to 1997 Mazda Miata.
Oh my God.
All right. Now, dude, you can easily get this for under $3,000, let alone $5,000. I've seen them on Craigslist for even $1,500, $1,008. Now, the Miatas of this year came with a 1.6 liter and a 1.8 liter engine, and they usually produce somewhere around like 100 horsepower. Now, the crazy thing about the Miata is that it's rear-wheel drive, and it almost has a 50-50 power to weight ratio, making this thing a freaking RC car around the track. This thing is like a freaking go-kart. And not only that, you can swap out engines in this car. There's people who put Corvette engines in this thing. Can you imagine that? You imagine a car that weighs almost under 2,000 pounds with a fucking Corvette engine? Well, you know what? That's the Miata right there. Not only can you put that on that car, you can get that car for under $2,000. It's easy to tune. It's easy to boost. It's easy to build. You just take that thing to the track. You got a perfect drift car. You got a grip car. You got a daily driver. You can do anything you want with this Miata, man. It's like a blank slate. And that's why it's number 5 on the list. All right, now number 4 on the list is the 1994 to 1996 Chevy Impala SS. Now, this legendary car came with a 5.7 LT1 Corvette engine, making 260 horsepower and 330 earth-shattering pound-feet of torque, man. Now, I can personally vouch for this car because I actually own one of them. I own the 94 Impala SS, and I'm telling you, man, yo, this ride is smooth. I mean, it feels like you're riding on clouds, man. I swear to God, like, there's nothing that compares to riding on one of them old school bubble Chevys out there, man. And you know what? You could throw some rims on it. You could put a supercharger on it. It has a Corvette engine. You could do whatever you want to this car. Now, the only drawback is that this thing weighs a fucking like a tank, dude. This thing is like a shipping container weight, okay? But that's where all that torque comes in. You get me? And not only that, it can handle the power because it has that LT1 Corvette engine in it. Now, there's just something about this car, man. The way it looks, the way it sits, it just looks evil, man. Like if Darth Vader had a car, this would be it right here. It looks evil. It sounds mean as hell. And, you know, it's comfortable as hell, man. I mean, what else is there to say? All right, guys. Now, number 3 on the list is the 1984 to the 1996 Chevrolet Corvette C4 up in this mug. Now, I know you guys have seen this thing going up and down the street at least once or twice in your lifetime. At the end of the day, you know what? It's still a Corvette. Comes with a 5.7 liter LT1. And depending on the year, if you get them around between 1984 to 1985, they were making around 205 horsepower. Now, the higher up you start going in the years, from 1985 maybe all the way up until 1987, 89, they were making between 230 and 250 horsepower. Now, the ones in the early 90s, those were around 250, high 50s, and even 300 horsepower. And at the end of the day, man, it doesn't matter what year it is. Our Corvette is a Corvette. This thing hauls ass, and it looks good too, man. And for under $5,000, it's a damn steal. I've seen them on Craigslist. The lowest ranging from 2,500 to the highest maybe like mid 5,000s. And you know what, man? If you just so happen to be looking for one and you find one, take it, because these things are becoming classics real quick. Alright guys, number 2 on the list is the highly underrated Chevy Cobalt SS. And the only reason this car didn't make number 1 is because it's front wheel drive. And that, you could blame Chevy for that, man. They had their little phase where they were trying to make all these front wheel drive cars and it just wasn't working out. Okay? Now, the Cobalt SS weighs less than 3,000 pounds. Okay, so you got that going. It has 260 horsepower. Okay, and that comes from a 2.0 liter 4-cylinder supercharged engine. And guess what? This thing still gets 30 miles a gallon on the highway. Now, with that being said, these are barely breaking the 5,000 mark, but you can still find them easily for around $5,000. It's a good starter car. You get me? Like, you could upgrade them. You could put a bigger supercharger in there. You know, you could start modifying them, make them go faster, and they could keep up with a lot of cars even to this day, man. And one of the main reasons why I love this car so much was especially that Need for Speed Most Wanted. It was one of the cars. It was one of the first times they introduced the Cobalt in there, man. That thing was a beast. So these cars have a lot of potential. You just got to know what you're doing with them, and that's why it's number 2 on the list. Alright guys, and for the end of the video, man, number 1 at the top of the list, that's going to be the Nissan 350Z. And by now, you guys already know what the deal is, man. You guys know the potential that this car has. It's a rear-wheel drive, 3.5 liter V6, producing 306 to 300 horsepower, and you're still getting 24 miles a gallon on the highway. And these things are starting to drop in value like crazy. You can pick this up for $3,000, $3,500. And the ones in really good shape, the ones that have been, cleaned out a little bit, you can get those around $5,000. Now, the rear-wheel drive in these cars makes them a dream car for people who love drifting. And that's why you see it was featured in the movie Fast and the Furious Tokyo Drift. You can see what they could do with this car. Everybody's getting a 350Z now to drift around the track. Very durable. It has that classic Nissan durability, man. It saves you gas. It has a shitload of fucking power. It's under 4,000 pounds. You can't argue with the 350Z, man.